Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Live from the Heartland for the week of September 23rd. I'm your host, Michael James, and it really brings me a lot of pleasure to bring on my next guest, someone who I'm looking forward to meeting in person, to hearing him play music in person. He is an internationally known blues man, a writer, an actor, and an educator, the one and only Fernando Jones. Hello there, Fernando.
Hey, Big Mike. Thank you, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Now, our music producer, Lynn Orman, she always comes up with some great people to come on the show. And I understand that you have, about 25 years ago, you wrote a play that you was based on the people you had met in blues clubs and places. It's called I Was There When the Blues Was Red Hot. And you're having an event coming up, 25-year anniversary. Fill us in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I started playing when I was 4 years old, and my older brothers were bluesmen, Greg and Forey Superstar. So I've always been involved in the blues. I never stopped playing the guitar, almost 56 years later.
Young guy.
And blues, young guy. So the blues was always there. So almost every journey in my life has been documented in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So fast forwarding, the book that came out in 1990 inspired a 16-millimeter black and white film that my buddy David Carlson and I did. And somewhere around 1998, that inspired me to write a play called an interactive dramatic comedy, because a lot of people that I knew were dying around me that meant a lot to me, and I meant a lot to them, like Lefty Diz, Junior Wells, Teresa Needham, so on and so forth. And then my eldest brother passed away in 1999. So this play, even though it came out in 98, it was a timely one because it kind of tells the stories of these blues men and blues women from a Black perspective. Often Black musicians, whether it's jazz, blues, or rock and roll, or even folk music, very few of us who are playing write our own stories. And so I think that was something that was unique about this piece because it was written by a cat that's part of the cultural situation. And
so the film is available. People can get it.
The film is a private type thing. David and I, we made the film and we were just showing it around at little film festivals and things like that. So we might reprise that one day. You got to always have something in the vault, you know. We learned that from Prince, right? So you can't put everything out there, and you got to leave something for when you disappear from this place, right?
So in the story, in your I Was There When the Blues Was Red Hot, you talk about various musicians and clubs and the whole scene around blues music.
Yeah, well, basically, it's not necessarily talking about the blues, different blues people, but the different characters are based on people that I met in my life and my journey. And it's kind of like when Shakespeare wrote Everyman. Each one of these characters represents an everyman of that particular ilk, if you will. And it talks about subjects that people, bluesmen, Black bluesmen and Black blues women, that we talk about in private, but we don't talk about them in public. Some people are not necessarily free to talk. Some people are bound by what they think their record company guy or girl would say if they spoke their mind, and so on and so forth. So it tackles race, it tackles gender bias, and it also tackles humor, because some of the funniest folks I'd ever met in my life are blues people, you know. So it lays it all out there, you know. So,
do you have a favorite person, character, individual in the
man? You know what? That is a beautiful question. I like the character You Dig, because You Dig is a visionary. He's forward thinking. He's fearless. I also like the character T, who was kind of inspired by Mama Jerry from Jerry's Palm Tavern, and Teresa Needham from Teresa's Lounge. She is also a protagonist in the piece. She pushes along, and this club where everything takes place is like her child. Her whole world is wrapped up in this club, where to everybody that comes, the patrons and the musicians, to them it's just a club or hole in the wall. But to her, this is her child. This is her legacy. This is her university. This is her everything. So I really like that character, those two characters. And there are some smaller roles that I really dig too. There's a character called $2, where he's always begging for $2, and he's based off of a humorous blues guy. But then you also have Money Making Mary, who is a gambler, a female, of course, and she's as tough as the guys are. And so it's just, I mean, it's about 9 or 10 characters. So I could probably find something great in all of them that I like, but those are the ones that come to the.
Now, it sounds really great. I used to, I never got to Teresa's, I'll confess, but I did see Muddy Waters and James Cotton at a place. It was on the north side called the Fat Black Pussycat, and that would have been 1962. And then I used to, a little bit later, I'd go to a place called the Blue Flame at 39th and Drexel. And Paul Butterfield was playing there, white blues guy with a Howlin' Wolf's old band. And they were some of the best times I ever had in my life, I got to tell you.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why it's important what you're doing in documenting. It's always, if it's not documented, does it exist? I had a conversation earlier about Michelangelo and Da Vinci. They were contemporaries and they were rivals. And in this conversation that I was having with Dr. Kyle, one of my board members, I said, well, what if there was a third guy that was great, or a third woman that was a great sculptor or an inventor? But if you're not documented, you're just relegated to those two rivals. So that's why I've done everything I could, and everything that I can in this lifetime that I have, to document as much as I can surrounding this music that has always, been part of my life.
You've got this event coming up. I think it's October 2nd,
yes,
5 to 7:30 at the U Black Box Theater, which
right.
Is that the right name?
Yes, it's on the campus of Kennedy King College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's where it is, and it's a space in Kennedy King College. It's a brand new building. Well, it still looks brand new. If I do my calculus, it might be 8 years old, or 10 years old, or 15 years old, but it looks like it was just ribbon was cut yesterday.
Is that at 740 West 63rd Street?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it is free, and it doesn't cost anything either.
So you're going to have a reading, or some of the original people from the play coming in, or
yes,
tell us what the event's going to be like.
Well, the event is we're going to have a meet and greet. We're going to have merchandise. I'll have copies of the book to sell. All proceeds will go back to Blues Kids Foundation, and Blues Kids Foundation will in turn use this play when it's mounted as a fundraiser. Blues Kids Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization, and we go around the world, and Chicago's included in that world. We go around, we provide free world-class instruction to youth and adults on blues pedagogy. Well, pedagogy for the kids, andragogy for the big kids, the grown folks. And so most of the actors are original. We lost we lost 4. Well, the drummer passed away, which is Roy Boyd. Connie Rice, who played Mississippi Mama and T at different times, she passed away. My nephew Chip Ratliff was a sub bass player in there. He passed away. Mama Jerry, of course, the proprietor of Jerry's Palm Tavern, passed away. And back then we ran it in the Palm Tavern, and it was an interactive piece. So we hope to mount this piece. And so that night we'll talk a little bit about that. There'll be a reception. I believe it'll start about 5 o'clock to about 5:45. Reception / meet and greet. We'll have live blues that will be happening in that 6 o'clock hour. And then we have a prequel to I Was There When the Blues Was Red Hot, which is Guitar Grady and Waylon Walker, two signifying blues guys that tell their little story on how B.B. King got everything he knew from them, and then it segues right into an adaptation of the full-length play of I Was There When the Blues Was Red Hot. So that whole piece there, that'll probably be like a 35-minute chunk of time. After that, one of the moderators will be Rufus Williams from WVON. And so he'll get a chance to interview some of the cast, and then he will interview me after the harvest time. The play read should be over I believe around 7 o'clock, between 5 minutes to 7 and 5 minutes after 7. And then he'll interview me. And after that, we'll do autograph signing and all that kind of stuff.
Well, Fernando Jones, do you have any desire and plans lurking around, ready to go to bring this play back, to bring it on the
Yes.
stage again?
That is another great question. Yes, we do. Over the last 25 years, people would ask about every 4 or 5 years, I'd run into some of the cast members and say, man, we got to do the play. And I was like, man, we were younger then, and we had our own facility at the Palm Tavern, and we didn't incur any economic impact. And so now I was talking to somebody, and they said, man, this play, yeah, that would have been 25 years ago. So that was in August when I realized it was 25 years. And then, so, you know, I'm a project-oriented type person. So another project back on the plate, got the crew back together, and we rehearsed at my home yesterday. We're going to rehearse again on on Friday, and get a couple more in next week, and we're going to be ready. So the plan is to mount it in the fall of 2024, hopefully at Kennedy King, if this reception is well, and our friendship and strategic partnership is still there. And but we'll be ready after this. If somebody wants to mount it, you know, at a facility as early as February, we'll probably be able to do something. So
what's your sense these days of younger people tuning into the blues? I know there's a lot of blues festivals, and a lot of the old masters are passing on if they haven't already. What's the sense of the scene around blues today?
Well, young Black musicians are still playing, and we've always played it. Of course, Eurocentric players are playing, and I think that the myth is that young Blacks don't like the blues. You know, we're not a monolithic
right on
group. So you can have a group of folks that love hip hop or whatever the modern music is. You can have some that love contemporary gospel or Christian or inspirational music, and there are those who play the blues. One of the things that I've seen and living as a Black man and living as a cat who's been playing continually since 4 years old, a lot of times the older guys, maybe a generation or 2 generations above that Black teenager playing, they don't want to let him in. And so he gets turned away, or she gets turned away. Well, they're more welcoming to people from other cultures because we have this stigma or whatever it is that, man, young Blacks don't play the blues. And so we carry that with us. And so when someone comes, because I was one of them, you know, you come around and it take 30 guys before one guy like Willie Dixon or Junior Wells to take me under their wing, or my cousin Lefty Diaz, or my brother, you know, for people to really give you a break. And you see other people in your same age group that don't look like you, they get a break and they get a piece of this cultural thing, and they keep going and they never come back. You know, you know, it was like a reprisal of a conversation from a couple weeks ago. You know, the John Mayer piece in Rolling Stone magazine. Here's a guy who came through the blues. He couldn't have gone straight to pop as a category, but a lot of people think it is a style. But for all practical purposes, he couldn't have gone from Berkeley right into a pop realm. He came through playing the blues, and it was fascinating, and he got a break, and now he can do whatever he wants to do. And then he says bad things about it. And then you have somebody who everybody looked up to, Eric Clapton, and then he's, you know, you dig up his stuff, and he, you know, back in the 60s, he said Britain should stay white, you know, with all the Black music he got, and the Africans coming there. And then you watch the television yesterday, and the cat from Rolling Stone puts a book out about genius or something, instead of, he could have just said my favorite musicians. And then he goes on to say pretty much that Blacks didn't have the aptitude to be geniuses.
And kicked him out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And you're living in a world where you're able to see a Prince and Stevie Wonder and Duke Ellington, you know.
Let me ask you, if in the play, I was there when the blues was red hot. Are they all Chicago based, or do you got any Texas guys, any like Freddie King? Or
no, it's all Chicago. It's all Chicago.
Good.
This is one night. This is one hot Saturday summer night that all this takes place.
All right.
And these issues are, and you dig is the messenger. And we know from every messenger we've ever had, he or she never makes it to the finish line. So you got to come out and see what's
It
happening
really
with that.
sounded good to me. Let me ask you a couple other things.
Sure.
I understand you're an actor. What kind of
Yes.
acting are you doing? You got any work? Are you on strike? I'm a SAG guy
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
on strike.
I'm American Federation of Musician member, which is a sister organization to SAG. So
Right
when
on.
I started as an actor, I was doing with ETA, which is community type theater. I would not break the line to quote unquote act in a film or anything like that. I stand with you, my brother. Just I hope you guys stand with us when the local 1028 goes on strike. I'm all for the union, and this is a read. So this, and it's free. So this is not taking any work from anybody at all.
Right on. Now let me ask you another question. You talked about the Blues Camp International or the Blues Kids. That really sounds like a great program. Give me a little more on that.
Well, ask me a specific question, and I'll give you 5 answers to that.
How long have you been running the Blues for Kids? What are the ages?
I created Blues Kids of America back in 1989 while I was a substitute teacher in Chicago Public Schools. Out of that came Blues Camp. Blues Camp was established, it was created in 2009 and established for the 4th of July, 2010. And we kicked that week off. We had 77 students that came from all around the world, meaning kids from Europe as well, and different parts of the United States. You know, sometimes people say around the world, and it's just the next state over. And so we did that. We had a balloon launch on Sunday, the 4th of July, and we got a lot of coverage from Howard Reich, our dear friend at Chicago Tribune, as well as ABC7. And from that, man, it took on off. You know, so this summer we will be in our 15th year of that one, the 15th year of Blues Camp International. And from that, we've done camps literally all over the world, in the UK, in Italy, in Brazil, in Cuba.
Oh, I've been there. I like that.
Yeah. Well, we're establishing one in Brazil. I bespoke for Brazil. I was trying to get Cuba. Don't want to say anything that's inaccurate.
Well, Brazil got a better government now, so it'll probably be better.
Yeah. I was just there to establish when I was over there in March. So that'll happen. You know, if not, what is this year is almost over in 2020.
Fernando, let me ask you: do you have any? I know you got a pretty hot band. I was listening to some of the tunes. I think we're going to use some of them, you know, throughout this show. You got any actual playing gigs coming up?
Yes, I'm playing Saturday at Naughty Lux at the Naughty Lux Bistro, or we could just say Naughty Lux in Markham. It's at 3442 West 159th Street. It is accessible by the toll road, and it is also accessible by I-57. It's safe, it's clean, it's a newly open spot, and we are going to thunder.
We're going to wind this up. I'm going to repeat this. The reading for I Was There When the Blues Was Red Hot will be Monday, October 2nd from 5 to 7:30 at the U Black Box Theater, which is 740 West 63rd Street in Chicago.
On the campus of Kennedy King College.
Right on. Well,
and it's free.
It's free.
And it's for mature audiences, and it's during this time of diversity and equitable inclusion. It'll be great to be in the house.
Well, I got your contact information. I got your phone number, email, and you're going to run into me sooner or later. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. I think you'll have a great event. It looks really good. The artwork, which I think we'll include, the poster looks good. And I hear great things. And I did listen to a little of your music, and I'm going to listen to a lot more.
Thank you, man.